Hey, this is Chris with Rekkid Talk. We're going to do 5 records in 5 minutes. And so we're going to do another year. We're going to do the year 1990. And 1990 was all about college rock. Well, at least for me, because I was in college in 1990. So everything I'm going to show, I'm going to classify as college rock. So first we're going to start off with the last great college rock album. Some critic called it that at some point. Blake Baby's Sunburn, so the predictable Juliana Hatfield record for me to be showing. And this is actually the OG, although I did not own it at a time. I do have to admit that I did not actually know about the Blake Babies in 1990. I learned about them a couple years later. Sort of when I learned about Juliana Hatfield and learned that she'd been in a band before. My college town wasn't cool enough to have gigs by the Blake Babies. I happen to think this is the Blake Babies' best album. You got songs like Out There and Sanctify and the ever so weird John Strom song Girl in a Box and the like. So, and then what else is college rock is college hip hop. And so Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Planet, not pulling it out of the sleeve, and all of the VMP accoutrements. This isn't my favorite Public Enemy album, but it's the one that happened to came out in 1990. You got stuff like 911 is a Joke, Brothers Gonna Work It Out, and the like, and of course Burn Hollywood Burn. And so you got the anger of Chuck D and the comic relief of Flavor Flav going on. And this late 80s, early 90s era is really about the only era I know much about hip-hop in. And then what's going to be more college rocky is going to be Ed's Redeeming Qualities, More Bad Things. I actually did a video about this several years ago that 2 or 3 of you watched. Even though they were a New England-based sort of folk rock band, sort of almost a childlike primitive, since they were not exactly virtuosos musically, and so this is their song More Bad Times, and Cheese Grater, Things That Scare Me. Of course, Dom Leone, who passed away young, and Dan Leone, Carrie Bradley did some work with the Breeders, and I know the Breeders ended up covering one of their songs. Then, of course, 1990s is going to feature a lot of CDs, and so this would be my favorite They Might Be Giants album, but I still just have it on CD. It's called Flood. If you know anything about They Might Be Giants, it's most likely going to be songs off of this album. So you got Birdhouse in Your Soul, and their cover of Istanbul, not Constantinople. And of course, Your Racist Friend and Particle Man, and lots of other songs. It was tons of tracks, although many of the tracks are quite short. And then, of course, we also had Husker Du was done by then. This was the second solo album. So this was in that period after Husker Du, before Sugar. Bob Mould, Black Sheets of Rain, less acoustic, but still very full of anger and angst. I mean, an album called Black Sheets of Rain doesn't exactly give you the idea that it's going to be some sort of happy album. You've got songs like It's Too Late, probably the best song on it's called Hanging Tree, Disappointed, and so Bob Mould wasn't happy, joy in 1990. And of course, I sort of chose to start and end this episode with Juliana Hatfield. She doesn't really look like Juliana, but she's on the right there. And Bob Mould is because I'm convinced both of them have been very prolific over the years and are still active. And I think one of them is going to be the last college rocker standing. Is it going to be Juliana or Bob?